until God becomes real to you in a way that is undeniable. Till and unless it moves from just being a concept to a being and a power that you have literally encountered, then again, it's really easy to get caught up in religion. Hey guys, so today I want to talk about my spiritual journey and why I decided to be a Christ follower and why I firmly believe it is the answer that a lot of ladies today are looking for. Now, first off, I will say I grew up in the church. I always like to say I was born saved, whatever that means. But I mean, I was that church kid, right? In and out of choir rehearsals, Bible studies. Both of my parents were actively involved in church, leading music and leading groups and conferences, things of that nature. So I just was always there. Even if I didn't want to be there, I just was that kid on the pew at night, in the morning, and weekends. But also along with that, I saw a lot of debauchery. I saw a lot of people, saying one thing, living the other. I saw a lot of people just doing dastardly deeds. I can remember one of the earliest churches I went to, the pastor, he preached heavily against homosexuality. Like, he was just so passionate about it. And then he ended up running off on his wife with 5 kids with one of the men from the church. Now, to my understanding, he's actually flamboyantly living the homosexual lifestyle. But I'm just saying, like, that was a complete shock to me, because it's like, you're supposing that you're about this particular thing, but then you now end up doing something different. So, I saw that. Also, I remember one of my spiritual fathers, quote unquote spiritual fathers, ended up leaving his wife and dating and marrying his own spiritual daughter. Like, just a mess, right? And this is fun. This is like this old white guy, and his spiritual daughters just happen to all be black. Now I know this in retrospect. But yeah, he ended up leaving his white wife and running off with one of his spiritual daughters. So, church hurt situations, different pastors, different leaders who were having affairs, money laundering, all of the above. That caused a lot of confusion for me. And I know a lot of you guys would ask, okay, well, if you saw all that junk, if you saw all that mess, why in the heck would you stay? And that's a good question. At a particular point in my entire journey, Christ became real to me. It wasn't just an idea that I read. It wasn't just some random person thousands of years ago that I couldn't connect with, or some like white hippie looking Jesus dude. The revelation of Christ, the power that created the universe, and the power of redemption, the power of life being transformed, and the power of actually living and growing into being a daughter of God, it became a real living concept to me. And what I have come to understand is that until and unless somebody actually has their own personal encounter with the Most High, and until the Most High becomes a real, living, tangible, relatable being, then the mess associated with religion can really get in the way. And it can be really easy to walk away from the whole thing, because it's just like none of it is real. And I could have walked away from just church completely because of all of the church nastiness that I saw. But because God became real to me in spite of a lot of those situations, it inspired me to stay. And I also wanted to be clear that not all of my situations were horrible. Like, despite all of the mess that I saw, I've also experienced some amazing relationships. Some of my best friends to this day I saw from church. My husband I met at a Bible study. Different people in my wedding I met at church. People who've just been integral in to give me guidance and direction in life are different people I've met at church. And so, just like there's own set of trauma, there's also been a lot of beauty and a lot of growth that I've experienced working with God's people. I also truly believe that issues that we're seeing with modern women, the debauchery, the sexual promiscuity, the delusion, the broken mindsets, the inability to get along with people, the answer to that, I believe, is God himself. That is what that's literally what he promised. He said, those who are broken, those who are burdened with life, those who are burdened with their own sins or their own mishaps, come to me. Men can't save these women. Look, women can't even save these women. This is not an issue of just divesting. It's not an issue of you got to change your race. You got to know yourself more. You got to, it's not just black men's fault. It's not the weather. It's like the issues that we're seeing now widespread among women really go down to there being a broken spirit, a broken heart, a broken mindset. And of course, there's been different things that have led to that, right? Anytime you move fathers from the home, you remove the covering. Women are just susceptible to so much, and then add to that just the cultural degeneration that's happened, all of the other modern influences on top of the economic challenges. So there's different reasons that I think women are in the state that they are today. Multiple different reasons. The only being who is capable of redeeming right, some of these women and giving them a life worth living is God. God can help these ladies. The good news is that he wants to. He is an equal opportunist. Whosoever will, he says. It's like, it don't matter who you are. It doesn't matter your social economic background, your race. It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't matter what you've done. If you have a heart that is willing to repent and surrender your life to God, then he can do something with you. He can walk you through a process of rebuilding your life. He truly can. So that's the great thing about it. But it's also clear to understand that God's probably the only one that's willing to deal with some of these ladies. I encourage anyone out there who believes this whole spiritual stuff is just garbage, or if you think it's just kind of magical thinking, or if you don't really know, if you're kind of searching and you're like, is this God thing real? Is this Jesus thing real? Is it not? I would encourage you to just be open-minded and pray to the Spirit of truth. I always say people who are seeking, if you pray to the Spirit of truth, if you ask the Spirit of truth, invite into your life, best believe he will encounter you. He will absolutely show you the way. And so that is always my encouragement to people who are in that journey of trying to figure out what is true, what is not true. What I want to reiterate is that the revelation of Christ has to be something personal, and it has to be something real. Until God becomes real to you in a way that is undeniable, until and unless it moves from just being a concept to a being and a power that you have literally encountered, then again, it's really easy to get caught up in religion. And when I say religion, I like to distinguish religion between those who are actually pursuing a relationship with the Most High, because they are different. They are different. Religion, the practice of religion or the religious spirit, oftentimes has people using religious practices or using spiritual practices as a means to gain control or influence over people, whether it be for political power, whether it be for financial gain, whether it be for control, whatever it may be. That is religion. That is a religious spirit. That is what Jesus came to oppose. That is why Jesus went into the synagogue and threw out the money changers and threw over tables. That is distinctive from those who are actually pursuing a relationship with God and want to follow him. Those are two different things. Now, unfortunately, when you go into church, you find both. You find those who are genuine and who want to know God, and you have those who are in there for their own political, financial, or just selfish gain. And so this is why, for me, it's not even about debating. I understand everybody has their own beliefs and everybody's on their own different journey, and I totally respect that. Everybody has the right to come to the conclusion of truth on their own. I can just say emphatically that despite all of that, I have seen the hand of God in my life, and I've seen God keep me from situations that didn't even really make sense. And it was like, this was only that God that kept me. And in the midst of all of that, I've come to understand that being a Christ follower is literally about following. It's about following God's ways. But in order to follow God's ways, you have to first know God in a real personal way. But just know that it's super simple. It's open for everybody. I highly recommend it. Anyways, thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out. Be sure to like, share, subscribe on the way out. If you've been hanging out with me up to this point, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here. You could be literally anywhere else, but I thank you for just taking the time to support my channel and listen to what I have to say. It means a lot. Anyways, we'll talk later, okay? Bye.